What is going on, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel, Bro Science Bullshit. Guys, I wanted to have something a little bit more long form for those of you who wanted to know a little bit more about what I'm posting out there. Sometimes I have to very in a hurried fashion put it on Instagram. It's like 90 seconds worth. It's hard to get everything in there. So I wanted to have a place where y'all could come and get a little bit more information about whatever subject it is that I'm talking about. And today I'm going to talk about one of the most, I swear I get asked about this more than anything else on some level, right? Like people ask me about alcohol all the time. Like we're always trying to find this fucking cheat code to be able to include it and as much of it as we want, along with our health goals, our fitness goals, fat loss goals, all those things that like go with it, right? So I get asked about alcohol all the time. So in this video today, I want to talk about what alcohol is actually doing inside the system. And I've created a little bit of an analogy to go with this. So you can kind of imagine what the fuck alcohol is doing once it enters the body. Now, I'm not against alcohol. Let me start by saying at the very beginning of this, I am not against alcohol. I rarely drink, but I'm not against it. But I do feel like if people understood what alcohol did in the system, how it impacts our system, then we might make different choices about when we consume, how we consume, and we'd understand what happens when we consume alcohol. So, first things first, alcohol, what is it? So, plain and simple, it doesn't matter how you cut this shit, alcohol is a toxin, right? So, we're going to think about this stuff right here. We're going to put a face to this. So, alcohol as a whole in this form is toxic. So, the face we're going to put to this is we all have that one friend in our group, right? That you love them to death, but they're a little, even just as they are, they're a little toxic. They're loud, they're abrasive, they're maybe even a little bit like me. They're just out there. And you love them because you know who they are as a person, but once they get out around other people, they're they're a lot, right? So alcohol is that kind of, we'll name this person Chad. Chad seems like a toxic name. Chad in your life, that friend, it's very loud and outgoing at parties, that sort of thing. Now, when alcohol enters the body, alcohol has a free pass because it's water soluble and it's fat soluble. So it doesn't need a key to get into the cells. It can just pass right through the cells. And the same way that when you invite Chad over to a barbecue, he is super cool with you and he's a little toxic. So he doesn't just kind of stay where the people are mingling. He goes everywhere in the damn house, free reign, free will, right? He's going into all the rooms, into the bathroom. He is being loud and abrasive. He is being a little bit toxic, right? And everybody's a little bit kind of put off by him, like, well, who the fuck is this fucking guy, right? Like, so that's what's happening. This alcohol is just passing through all your cells, right? Now, alcohol gets converted into what we call acetaldehyde. Now, here's the fun thing about acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is even more toxic to the body and to the body cells than alcohol is. So now we have another form of toxin running through the body that, again, doesn't need keys, right? It can get into every cell and just be all toxic up in that cell. So now we're going to think about Chad is at this party, right? And Chad has been getting fucked up and he's getting louder. He's going from room to room. He's engaging with more people. More people are being put off, right? He is just on the upward fucking climb. And that's who this person is. So as alcohol gets converted to acetaldehyde from one toxin to an even more potent toxin, it now can go through this every cell in the body or every room in your house with free reign and free will, and just be a complete dick, right? Break things, mess things up, jacking around. All of that's happening in there. Now, alcohol from acetaldehyde converts to what's called acetate. So it's like a 3-step process, right? So we have alcohol that we ingest, boom, goes in, acetaldehyde, which is a more toxic version of it, but it's got to make the conversion. And then that can convert to what's called acetate. So acetate can actually be used. So acetate, and for this conversion to happen in the liver, for it to go from acetaldehyde to acetate, that's a metabolic process, right? And it happens in the liver. But it doesn't happen very fast in a lot of us because most people don't have a very fast metabolism. So what we know there is like the faster your metabolism is, the faster you can metabolize through alcohol and you can get through those 3 steps to this last step of acetate, which is going to be when Chad finally chills the fuck out, when he's done for the night, when he can barely walk and you just got to get him home, right? That's the third form. He's acetate is a usable form of energy in the body. It's not a great form, but we can utilize it just the same way that we can utilize Chad now and get him the fuck home. And he's kind of chilled out. But like I said, the problem therein lies is the person's personal metabolic process. How fast can we go from alcohol, which is a toxin and it's just beating up cells, to acetaldehyde, which is even more of a toxin, and they're just really wreaking havoc on cells? Then that acetaldehyde is just going to sit there and it's going to wreak havoc until your body can convert it over to acetate into the body, and it can utilize that form of energy. So as we ingest alcohol, we're literally poisoning ourselves. Like, kind of a shitty, morbid way to think about it, but it really is. That's where the drunken effects of alcohol really take place in the brain, is when that the acetaldehyde is running through and running a fucking muck everywhere. Like Chad at his prime in that party, probably 1 a.m. He's had a bunch of Goldschlager probably, and Mad Dog. I don't know what Chad drinks, but probably drinking something like that. Maybe he's off that Henny. I don't know. But he's at his peak. It's at his peak, and that's when that drunken state hits, because you can't metabolize that acetyl alcohol, and you can't keep that poisoning from happening. And so we feel inebriated. We go through all the drunken patterns, and then we typically wake up with a hangover because we still couldn't metabolize all of that alcohol. And because it does wreak a lot of havoc on the liver, because that's where those conversions happen. And out of those 3 steps, 2 of them are very toxic. That means your liver is taking a beating every time you drink. Those cells are just taking a beating, on top of not getting sleep, because it jacks up your sleep. And so you also don't get the regenerative stuff on the back end that night for the next 1 or 2 nights. So drinking as a whole, outside of just trying to lose weight and all that good stuff, like it really plays a lot of havoc on the biology. The same way is if you're hanging out with this motherfucker Chad all the time and you're bringing him everywhere, like he's gonna play hell in your life. Chad is cool to hang out with sometimes, every once in a while, like every 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you can have a little Chad time, but you can't be hanging out with Chad on Wednesdays. He's gonna get you all fucked up. You know what I mean? So guys, I hope this helps out. I hope this little analogy helps you understand why it can be so bad for the biology. I'm not saying you shouldn't and can't drink. I'm just saying that you should be well informed, so that when you do, you know what's happening, and you're not always bringing Chad around and they're wondering why the fuck people don't want to hang out with you, because you always got fucking Chad around. The booze. All right, guys, I hope this helps out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.